positive group that just not only like enjoyed the game, but they enjoyed being around each other. And when you have those qualities in a team, and then when they're able to kind of show that, it's so much easier to play this game. When they got to the state tournament, I think we all understood that like if we were level-headed and we saw what was in front of us, but we kind of just slowed down and processed everything, that we would have an opportunity to do something really great.
Like, first time I ever played states, like, I've always, like, for us three seniors, we've always viewed states as such a, like, big opportunity and such, like, a huge thing. So my sophomore and junior year, we lost states our first round. And then the first time I ever got past the first round of states, we won the whole thing. So it's just, like, crazy for me. And, like, being able, like, when we went in, like, we didn't know there was something past when you win the sectionals. Like, it was, like, so big to be able to make it past and keep going. And just, like, no one expected, like, we knew we wanted to do something great, but never on the terms of being able to make it so far, like, and how much success we were going to face. We never thought, like, in a million years, like, how amazing of a season we were going to get.
That was coming up. We always had to look forward to play that game and, you know, beat that team, and then, like, all right, got it done, got to go on the next one. But then, like, at the end of the day.
You guys clearly weren't. you obviously weren't looking ahead, like, you know, when you went to play Johnson, you wanted to beat Johnson. You weren't thinking about, oh, we're going to win the section. You wanted to win the Johnson game. You know, that was it, one at a time kind of thing. You know, any thoughts on that?
I think we focused on, like, each game, like, one at a time, but, like, we always had the big picture in mind, but, like, we knew if we didn't win the game we were in, like, we weren't going to make it as far as we wanted to, so we had to focus on each game.
I think probably thinking everything back on the bus ride home and the next practice, there was probably some tension, and everybody kind of was pretty sad at that practice, but, you know, once we realized, you know, we have a few games coming up, we gotta, like, get that out of our minds, it's past us, we've learned from it, like, we have to grow and then come back and win. So.
I just want to build off that real quick, because I felt like that game really made us mentally stronger, because that kind of was brought on to the state game, because on the state game, you know, we got scored on first, and I just feel like we weren't really used to that, but because of that county game versus Cranford, when we got scored on, like, we didn't put our heads down, like, we got up and, like, we were fighting back, and I just felt like if it wasn't for that Cranford game, then we wouldn't have been, like, as mentally strong as we were for the state final.
We learned from that, and going off of that, we knew that we had to be prepared for that mentally and physically, so I think it just really helped us. Oak. I think I think that was one of our first, like, biggest wins when we all, like, looked around, like, especially the seniors, we were looking around and, like, we could really do something, like, really big with this team. And that's when especially for me, like, that was my realization. I was like, this is, like, a great team that we've got. Yeah.
So Oak Knoll was the game.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
I think that even though we were, like, down against Ramsey, like, we knew we were going to come back. Like, we've come back before. There was no reason we couldn't do it again, and, like, we obviously did really quickly. Because, like, we were the better team. We were more skilled.
By the way, who do you guys think was better, Delsey or Ramsey?
Delsey.
Yeah.
I thought so, too.
For me, Delsey was the defining moment for us, because we struggled for long stretches that game to produce a lot offensively. And at the same time, we were defending amazing that entire time. So, you know, we understood the fact that we were going to have to defend against this team, who I think we all agree gave us more fits than Ramsey did, even though Ramsey scored on us a couple times. Just the way they played and their system that they played, it just made things more difficult for us. But again, I think we got better throughout that game, especially the second half of the game. And it showed as I think they got a little bit more fatigued than we did, and we started to impose ourselves on them, especially the last 15 or 20 minutes. And that was the defining moment, those last 10 minutes where we got a crucial goal.
Emily has a good story.
Cool.
I worked at, like, a catering place, and I was working in Newark, and it, like, came up that I lived in Berkeley Heights, and this lady was like, "Did you see the girls' soccer game?" And I was like, I'm actually on the team. And it was just funny because, like, we were in Newark, and it was, like, this lady I'd never met before, and, like, she brought it up, and she was, like, telling everyone that I was working with that, like, I was a state champion. It was just, like, cool because, like, we were in Newark, and, like, someone there, like, even knew about it.
Yeah, I had a couple shots like that before that goal went in, and, like, you know, they always went over, and then, you know, a minute left, I was like, let's do it, let's just, like, I had
You had just missed one, not, you know, a few minutes before. One that went over top. In fact, our stands thought it went in. They were going crazy because it hit the back of the net.
Was going in,
and the GL crowd went crazy.
Next to him, and he didn't know who he was. Then it was, like, awkward because it didn't go in.
Yeah.
She had a couple shots from range that just went over by a little bit, but this was a moment of class.
Out of the air.
A moment of class that superseded, obviously, the previous attempt on goal.
A really funny moment was when you watch the video, you see everyone celebrating, and then Kelsey, you, like, run up and you start jumping, and then, like, for, like, 2 seconds, and then you start yelling at people, and you're like, defend, and it's so funny.
She's like, I'm not ruining this.
That's a great example of how this team matured.
Yeah.
Like,
you really
you see that clearly in the video. Like, Kelsey's like, and then let's get back and let's
it was
defend
like
the
2
last
jumps,
100.
and then you were like, you were alley check, you were like, defend.
It comes from other people. Like, Claire got the assist on my second goal, and you saw her, like, bust her butt all the way to the corner and, you know, make a really hard cross, and I was able to make the run. So, you know, though I, like, put it in the back of the net, like, what came to it wasn't, you know, just a string of easy passes. Like, we had to work really hard beforehand, and especially, you know, some of these come from clearing out of the back from the defense and the midfielder getting it and dishing it off to another midfielder and getting up the field. Like, it's always, like, a chain reaction. No one really, like, carries the team the whole way and, you know, dribbles through everybody and shoots and scores. So Allie Post had a few of those.
She's Allie Post.
But a lot of them, you know, it did come from everybody else. And I think what came from it was that we were selfish enough, but we weren't a selfish team. So, like, we knew when to, like, pass the ball, we knew when to shoot, we knew when to, you know, yell at someone when it's needed, but not to yell at them enough that it's going to, you know, damage the relationship of the team. Like, we knew our boundaries and we knew, like, what we had to do to get.
I think it's going to be interesting. Not going to be there, but I think it's going to be interesting the way people are going to view GL soccer next year, like our competition, because we're always viewed as, like, you know, like an average team. Like, we could play well, but, like, now everyone knows, like, we won a state championship. So I think it's going to be different the way people are going to enter games against us next season and how they're going to view us.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's end with a big cheer for state champ.
Yeah.